stupid baby. Hi. Hi, handsomes. Sorry, we didn't hear much of that. He's in a playful mood, but okay, he's gonna lay right there with his ball. So, you guys, again, just a heads up, I've already recorded this video once. I drove back down here to get it refilmed. So, for today's video, we are diving back into Season 2 of Titans. This is Episode 4, Return to the Nosferatu Beach Party. Now, this episode was a lot. Just a lot. So I want to preface this recap with that. I deeply admire all of the artistry on this show. And while, yes, we do love the drama and whatnot, this felt very different. It felt icky. And it was just more so kind of unfortunate to see. But, of course, best wishes to all of the contestants. And we're here for the TV of it all. I mean, they're making good reality TV, so we can't be too pressed, you know what I mean? But yeah, so I feel like we should dive right on in. Waste any time recapping this again. So we get the Boulets intro, and this time it's a bunch of hot muscle bears all over, like the himbo vampire vibes. I love it. It also feels like a direct callback to the intro from, I think it was season 4, season 4, the Rock Challenge, the 4th episode as well, where they were at the male strip club. It feels similar to that a bit, and the Boulets shade the audience a little bit. My little drag experts. Listen, we just have some opinions. And shading Sigourney a bit too, which I was a little surprised to see. Basically, they just like stand firm that she is not being favored within the competition. And they allude to someone ending up in the hospital at the end of the episode. Now, of course, as of me recording this, I also haven't seen the new episode yet. So I'm just like, oh my god, what the hell is happening? And then we enter the laboratory. We get right into just the BS of it all this week. So there's that. No respects paid to Jade. Sorry, girl. Dahlia thinks that everyone ganging up on her was uncalled for, and she's just very pulled away from the group. I mean, sitting like out of frame. Jaharia can't even tell her, like, no, not everyone hates her. Like, Jaharia feels bad because Dahlia hasn't technically done anything to her, but she sees what's happening. She's fully aware of it. So it's like, and it's again that sentiment of like, you should probably just shut the fuck up. Or she says in this episode, oh, you should probably just sit outside then. It's shady, but it's the truth. Dahlia kind of got herself into that moment. Also, I think we should discuss the Boulet Brothers Creatures of the Night podcast. I don't want this to go unmentioned in this series breakdown. They said that some very similar things and very similar chaos was happening on season 3 as well. And if you guys pay attention to the Boulets podcast, you know season 3 was their least favorite just because of all the drama. Well, they didn't really see it at the time as Dahlia, but now with everything happening, they're really reconsidering. And I was like, ooh, that is a bit of a nail in the coffin. What also is even Disasterina jumps in to say that it's her karma. It's not people picking on her. And yeah, that's the last nail in the coffin. Disasterina. Okay, well, she's the most level-headed person and the craziest that I think has ever been on the show. If you got her saying you deserve it, mama, oh, I'm sorry, but... Oh, hi, baby. You got your ball again? Yeah. I don't think he wants to play. He just wants to hold the ball. Get you a ball. Hi, handsomes. Would you like to say something? No. And then Dahlia claims that the cast doesn't want vulnerability or context and is going to give them season 3 Dahlia. I think that's a really rude generalization to make. they care about context. The issue is that you're not being straight up with them. So, and with the vulnerability, if you're not being straight up with people, you're not being vulnerable. Duh. And then, of course, Eva, without being asked, like, completely disowns Dahlia. Just says, like, can't pay attention to other people's drama this season. And Dahlia finds that strange, saying, I wouldn't do that to her. Okay, but it's not happening to Eva. Eva's not going around talking shit about everyone. Now, this is where it starts to get really messy. And again, I just want to reiterate, nothing but best wishes to Zava and JK, everyone involved in all of this, and Dahlia too. Listen, how many times do we say, like, we need a good villain? We haven't had a good villain in years. We got one. Okay, so let's be nice, even to our crazy girls. So Zava apologizes for their attitude last Cauldron, and Cynthia brings up the very personal comment that Zava made towards JK regarding the boyfriend. And Zava basically flips off Jay and wants to ask him about this boyfriend, but Jay refuses and says, we're not talking about this here, which is valid. However, I agree a little bit with the Boulets of like, well, listen, it's being brought up and it's playing a pretty big role in this. So Zava brings up how she saved JK from quitting drag. JK doesn't see it that way. Basically, it was like, I pulled myself up by my bootstraps. And Jay claps back at Zava for her dying competition show that allegedly no one would go to if it wasn't for JK. Petty stuff. But it gets very, very heated. Probably to a significant point that would make a lot of people feel really uncomfortable to be in the room, because it does get a little physical. And we see Cynthia and Sigourney, bless them. I know like it's been taken as like a really funny joke, but I think they genuinely were worried. Like, just the most immediate reaction was for them to just hold on to each other. I understand that. Zava says that JK will look ridiculous on camera. Not quite sure what they mean by that. And throws her glasses. This is when Cynthia and Sigourney hold on to each other for dear life. And Zava storms out. I mean, just screaming. Call my mother right now. JK says, someone call the bitch's mom. And Zava loses it. You can hear her getting further and further away in the studio, but still yelling. Listen, I understand kind of where Zava's frustration came from. Zava, to be fair, started to remove herself from it. She saw where she was going and was removing herself. JK kept going. So, it was good TV, though. Good TV. And I do also want to say they wrapped this up very nicely and very maturely at the end. And this is why I love not only the Dragula ghouls in general, but Zava. Because even on her original season, this isn't like a new thing. You know, we know that Zava has a temper, but Zava also clocks that. And she owns up when it's necessary. And that's just something that I hugely, massively respect about her. So props to ya, mama. Abora mentions how no one is recognized as Jade. Just going right to fighting. And I mean, yeah, pretty much. The cameras follow Zava outside, and Cynthia finds her hugging a tree and comforts her. This kind of broke my heart a little bit, and it's just like, you don't want to ever see someone go through that. You know, like, it's one thing to be arguing on camera, blah, 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 like, the drama of it all, but this was like, oh, I hate to see Zava like that. And I hate to see Jay reduced to their relationship as well within this competition. That seems to be like what's happening a little bit. Like, this is overshadowing both of them a little. And I don't like that, but like, we need the resolution of it, right? But that is when we get one of the most iconic lines ever on the show, but from Zava, when she's sitting there explaining to Cynthia, "Hi, baby, you're gonna make me forget all of what I'm talking about. He has an addiction. He's addicted to me." Iconic. And just Cynthia, the way it went was like, he has an addiction. Okay. He's addicted to me. Okay. Like the first one was like real, second one delusion, mama. I love it though. It's so iconic. And JK does say that they were hoping this wouldn't be the Zava that showed up to compete. I mean, to be fair, it's a pressure cooker. Like, those sides of people might not be their normal, you know? But it still comes out in that just heated of a situation. Are you good, bud? You're like falling asleep leaning on the thing. Hey, baby. You can lay down, you know that, right? You can take a nap. Cynthia tries to break down it all. Bless her soul. Love how we still have a love triangle. I guess that's just a curse for any Titan season. There's going to be a love triangle whether it's in the competition or not. This season, it's with JK, Zava, and this mystery guy. JK claims that he left her because of how Zava acted. Not too sure. Zava ends up snapping a little bit at the cameras, to basically just telling them, can you stop recording? I understand, but also, like, it's their job. And Cynthia even, does that, calms her down, and is like, hey, they're just doing what they're here to do. Zava alludes to something she knows that will make JK look ridiculous. I'm not sure. I don't know. But this is definitely going to continue. Even though they wrap it up a little bit nicely at the end, it's definitely going to continue because this question was left very open-ended. Sirens go off. Again, rest in peace, Jade. We miss you, gal. We miss you. And the challenge introduction for this week is Return to the Nosferatu Beach Party. Love this challenge. It's so kooky, campy, fun. It's just a great time, and usually we get some good drama out of it. The queens must conceptualize and create a vampire beach look and choreograph a lip sync to the Boulay Brothers' new song, Nosferatu Beach Party. And the fright feat for this week is a vampire dinner. Sigourney is so triggered. She had to do this on season 4 also. They must eat an entire bulb of garlic and drink an entire glass of pig's blood. Listen, if you fried your absolute last taste bud on the garlic, you might be able to make it through the pig's blood without tasting it. Maybe. It's the viscosity and I bet it's warm too. Ew. The winner, however, this week receives a magic shield spell which they can use to save themselves or someone else from extermination, which is pretty major. Usually it's just a save yourself or fuck someone else over kind of thing, but now you can spread the love. Sigourney, I love this little talking heads moment where she's talking about how each time that they have to do this challenge, her group always does terribly, and she's like, I must be the common denominator. I don't know how to take accountability for this, but I will. We love an accountability queen. JK notices that the Boulets said extermination and not the gallows this week. Ooh. And then, of course, enter Vander Von Odd per the fright feat. The kitty cat look. So good. Oh. Listen, I just think Vander is one of those queens that's like just never not going to be at the absolute top of their game. Even when they were still relatively new. Like, just light years ahead of some other creators. And it's just incredible. And Israel brings out giant beer mugs of blood and bulbs of garlic. Zava smashes the bulb of garlic on the ground, which kind of smart. Yeah, I guess, should it be specified if they can peel it first? Because that would definitely make a world of a difference. You can't really chew all of that just dry, nasty, papery stuff. And the spice is really what's taking people out. Dahlia isn't even trying. She's just like hardly nibbling. Now, some of you might know, I actually endorse, if you're really sick, eat some cloves of raw garlic. Have a bucket nearby, okay? You get what I'm saying? Even if you can handle spice, the raw garlic and just the juices and everything, it makes it happen. It's just like your body is not supposed to eat it like that. But it works. There was one time in college I had a really bad lung infection. I was coughing a lot, just had a lot of gugh in me. I ate 2 bulbs, not bulbs, oh my god, 2 cloves of raw garlic. I mean, throwing up like crazy. It was terrible. Absolutely terrible. But I felt much better the next day. So, I recommend, but it is brutal. JK wins neck and neck with Zava, even though Zava almost choked, like literally needed the Heimlich maneuver because she was just thinking like, okay, I'll just swallow them whole so it's not that spicy. Girl, be careful. Oh my god. And they also, JK gets to assign the teams for the challenge this week. I think JK could have been a lot shadier than they were, but Group 1 is JK and Blackberry. I think that was a smart move to do. Group 2 is Abora, Sigourney, and Dahlia. That's a messy one. Group 3 is Zava, Jaharia, and Disasterina. I feel like that's a good group. And the last group is a good one also. Eva, Priscilla, and Cynthia. Seems like the only people they're trying to fuck over was Sigourney, Abora, and Dahlia. Which is interesting with all the Zava issues happening. I would have thought that, like, put Priscilla, Dahlia, and Zava in a group together and see what happens. I mean, could you imagine? Oh, big baby giving me those big doggy eyes. Rehearsals are all running pretty smoothly, except for Sigourney, Abora, and Dahlia, of course. Very clearly awkward and uncomfortable, but I will say Abora, so emotionally mature this season, but also incredibly smart, gets her teammates to use that, what she quotes as acidic energy in the performance. Like, yes, and just helping to lift the mood a bit. Like, you see Sigourney and Dahlia want nothing to do with each other, and poor Abora is just there like, okay, let's make this work. Also, when did Abora get ripped? Holy shit. Did y'all see his back? I was like, fuck. With Blackberry, I love the Blood 48, like 40 ounce. So good. And I really like her explanation of she wants to emulate the women in her life that she loves and has respect for. And so that's like what an homage to this look was, and I respect that deeply. Disaster checks in with Zava about earlier in the week and was concerned for her. Disaster is a very loving and caring person on the cast. Zava explains that besides her therapist, her mom is the only person that can really talk her down from that kind of heated moment. Hence why she was saying to call her mom. And her mother just helped to remind her why she is there. But Zava does feel like her problems from outside aren't resolved because she just put everything on hold. And I think that's a common mistake that we see. A lot of queens who go back to competition shows don't address things that are happening in real life, and that tends to make things worse during the competition because your mind is still going to be thinking about that stuff. Zava says that she just wants to know if JK was texting her ex while they were still dating. JK says yes, but not like that. I'm side-eyeing that a little bit, girl. I don't know. And then that mixed with the whole, no, we're not talking about this. We're not talking about this. It does seem a little, dare I say, shady. JK and Blackberry do discuss the optics of the conversation. JK doesn't understand what Zava means when she says that she's protecting them, like protecting them from looking ridiculous. I guess it has to do with the whole, were they cheating, weren't they? However, production jumps in on the conversation, which interesting, we never hear from production like this. They jump in and say they want to clarify what's happening, so if Zava comes in, they'll know if the stories are lining up or whatnot. And JK shuts this down very quickly. He's not here. the boyfriend. He didn't sign anything, which I understand. I'm not talking about this. However, it's just all so messy. Here for the storyline continuation, though. And then just throws back the claim that Zava is the one that actually cheated. I don't know. A lot of these accusations against Zava are being thrown at them from the talking heads, like confessionals, and not in a actual conversation. So that is a little concerning, I guess, or discerning. I don't know. It makes me question some of the validity. Then heading on over, it is time for the floor show. The boulets look so pretty. I love it. The dragon wings and the slick, like, bodice. It's a classic look, but it's done at a heightened level, like duh. But they just look so good. So good. The judges for this week is star of the Nun and Conjuring films, Bonnie Aarons. And if y'all are able to see, I have my signed Valak photo. When I got that, I actually asked her, are you doing anything more with the boulets coming up? And she said no at the time, but this was like a year plus ago. But she is going to be at another convention that's coming up in Philly that I'm going to go to. So maybe I'll stop in again and see her. To be honest, though, I'm going for Linda Blair. Other judge, screenwriter of Malignant, Megan, and The Nun 2, Akela Cooper. Both returning judges. We've had them on before. They give great critique. They are super supportive and just loving of all of the queens. I love it when both of these ladies are on. So with that, let's dive on into the looks. First up is Blackberry. I love it. It's classic. It's a great swimsuit style. I'm not really sure what's going on in the middle there, but whatever. Like I said, classic. It's accessorized really well. Still has that kind of gender bent mindfuckiness of Blackberry, but like she knows her body. She knows how to wear shit well. I'm here for it. Next is Eva. I thought this was good. It was cute. However, I think I agree with them a little that it's kind of simple. I understand it's a beach thing, but I don't know. It just, yeah, I guess it's just a little simple for my liking, but oh, the bitch is beat. Next we have Priscilla. I guess she is a fan of faces in the middle of her torso. Okay, work queen. I like this. I'm not sure how Elvis has anything to do with vampires. Apparently Elvis is a vampire. I was unaware of that. So when Jaharia was like, so Elvis makes sense, but spiders don't, I was like, no, I hear you. Up next is Cynthia. I feel like Cynthia might have realized I'm doing too many like kind of classic vampires looks, like the first episode, then the bride, and then she did another one, didn't she? Well, it would have been this one. So like 3 vampire looks out of 4 episodes. That's a little crazy. So I kind of understand if maybe she took like an alien themed one and ran with that. But I mean, it worked for her. It worked. It's absurd and crazy, kooky, but also sexy. I mean, that's Cynthia. And for some reason, she can just pull off this Muppetry that I don't know anyone else that would maybe get away with that. But she pulled it off. It's like a weird, fucked up alien version of like Kim Kardashian. Oh, you're the baby. Next we have Disasterina. I thought this was good. I mean, it set her apart really well from the other contestants who went for more classic vampire looks, showed a lot of skin. Disaster covered every inch of her body, which she usually does. But I just like it. And the bag really honestly brings it all together for me. Just this kind of upper echelon beach goer that can't be bothered to get in the water today. Up next we have JK. I actually liked this look. I don't know necessarily what they mean by there was too much going on. Maybe just like the body paint. Maybe. The weird line at the shorts also, that is odd. The body paint, I think, was probably a major issue. But mug beat. And I like the reference. I like this kind of like flamboyant trade-esque character. And I think it goes really well with blackberries as well. So, like, I don't think Jay would have been in the bottom, but they would have definitely gotten some rougher critiques, that's for sure. Up next, we have Sigourney. What's not to love? I mean, I think when it comes to this, the question of quality comes in. This is high quality stuff. And the Boulets even mentioned as this is simple, but it's simple done well. And that is important to note. Plus, she just looks so good, showing off her body and all her tattoos. Work diva. Next, we have Abora. I liked Abora's, except for the hair. I think maybe without the hair, it would have been better. Or just a different style, something. I don't know. The hair was not it for me. Once she took it off, though, I really liked it. And the personification of her character, too, really worked. Also works with just how messy Abora is in general. But I really liked this one. Next, we have Dahlia. I'm going to say Dahlia's entire look, the first part and the second part, was not as original as people, I think, gave her credit for. I saw a lot of Hoso. I saw their vampire Nosferatu party look. Might have been season 4. Yeah, season 4. Sorry. So, I don't know. I mean, it is cute, but simple. But I think you could just tell Dahlia was not feeling it this week. Up next, we have Jaharia. Oh, bless your heart, girl. It does not look as bad in the photo that I'm seeing now as it did on stage and with the cameras and whatnot. So I will say that. I think the makeup is a bit not what the challenge needed, and I really kind of don't understand the nitpick about spiders not being a representation of vampires, I guess. I will say, though, I love the very deliberate cliffhangers, like her toenails that are just hanging, curling around her shoe. Love that. Up next, we have La Zavaleta, and I really enjoyed this look. I did. Her first look, not necessarily beach-y, but I guess is just kind of a cover-up. Changed that into her full nude illusion. I loved it. Just me. Maybe should have gone for more like bodysuit instead of bra and panties, but I don't know. I liked it. It was campy, cunty, and just her makeup in it, like that hairline pushed all the ways back. I love it. So that's the end of that. Jumping on into the Boulets judging of the floor show, they loved it. Which, I mean, fair. They really do love this challenge. With Dahlia, they hate what they are hearing behind the scenes. She says she has a bad attitude. Looks were also very debatable, and she fell in the back again, which seems to be a reoccurring thing with these group performance challenges. Jaharia, they said, had the worst look for the beach party. Next to Astrid, of course. Disaster covered her head to toe, but it worked, and was fully Disasterina as well. Sigourney, they thought, again, simple, the right way. Cynthia was a little confusing, but great. They read it as like an elder vampire caught in the sun, so fun. Abora, they thought was very fashionable, but didn't pop. And the wig reveal didn't happen, but loved them getting stuck on the umbrella and just having difficulties with the set in general. I feel like in the past, that's something that maybe would have annoyed Dracmorda a little bit, but I think they're fully embracing the mess that is Abora. And then the full judges panel comes on in, and they are judged as individuals this week. JK chooses to use the magic shield on himself. He says that if he did better, he would have saved Jaharia, and Jaharia looks crushed at this. Like, some people are shocked, like, oh, because there did seem to be like a clear kind of bottom, and I think everyone also agreed, while yes, Jaharia might not have done the best, she doesn't deserve to go home right now. Sigourney, Disaster, and Cynthia are safe, and then we jump into the more personalized kind of critiques. Zava, they thought, was the perfect nudist Nosferatu, very committed. The nude, though, made them lose the beach theme. I guess maybe would have been smart to have some floaties or something, maybe. Great craftsmanship, though. Bedazzled pussy, who doesn't love that? And Eva says she has audacity just for the forehead alone. You know, it's true. Jaharia, they read her down for using the spiders. Not a symbol to vampires, I guess. Great lip sync, but bad look, unfortunately. And Swanthula categorized it as a fall from grace. Jaharia takes this very hard. And I'm unsure of if the runoff happened after critiques or during. We're not sure. Jaharia implies someone set her up by saying her outfit was a good idea. We need names on that, girl. We need names. I have a feeling that's going to be a reoccurring argument. Eva, perfect little bikini. Immaculate, but the blood flask at the end was their favorite part, with her just like spitting it into the mouths of her friends. Like it became kind of blood orgy-esque. I think that's definitely what they want, like that seductive nature to the feeding, I guess. They thought Eva had a very glamorous reveal. However, there was bunching in her corset, I guess. I do love how, one, Eva responded. She was like, oh, the stress. Just haven't been eating. Funny. But then the Boulets being like, oh, as a Kayla Cooper is giving that critique, and they're like, oh shit, us too, girl. Actually, that was during Priscilla's, but there was a lot of talk about wrinkles in the fabrics. Priscilla, up next, brought garlic to the party, and the lining under her corset is showing. Boulets were clocked for that too. They thought Priscilla was ridiculous in the best way, and this is also where Jaharia says, Elvis makes sense, but spiders don't. No, I hear you, girl. That doesn't make sense to me either. But it's kooky, it's fun, so I'm here for that. Dahlia, they thought her, well, not thought, they saw her costume falling apart and riding down on her, so just not fitting. They thought she was adorable, but faded into the back too often. They also thought the first look was more original. However, their group was outshined, and she had too subtle of makeup. They had a lot of reads for her. Abora, they said it looks like she came from the undertow, very rat-like, but fashionable. The no wig reveal, however, though, they really did not like, and they thought she looked a little forgettable, which is a crazy read for Abora to get. I also think they tried something a little different. It is still very much classic Abora, but it was a little different, and I just don't want them to be maybe persuaded to not do that. Blackberry, they loved it. Her stage presence was just tense. The 60s mixed with like hip hop, and they also thought she was very wise to use bright red. It drew their attention and was just very sexy. So Eva, Priscilla, Blackberry are the highest ranked queens. Blackberry wins. She says she finally feels that she's in the race now. The bottoms for the week are Zava, Jaharia, Abora, and Dahlia. All four will be facing extermination, and they must eat a full vampiric picnic with innards, guts, and blood. We've seen this one before. It's disgusting. Behind the scenes, we see that Jaharia is comforted by Cynthia as she just like crumbles, literally behind the scenes. And Swanthula comes. We don't see the Boulets break out of that like role that we see them in too often. We know that they provide this support and care for the monsters, but it's just not presented to us in the show. I'm glad that they do, because this is a moment where I think Jaharia really needed it. She really needed that support and reaffirming. Even though I don't think Jaharia needs that validation, it's still important. And I think anyone would be lying to themselves if they were in this situation and being like, oh, I wouldn't care. You do care. Like, you do. But Swanthula comes back, comforts her, like, reminds her how much Jaharia is loved there. And they want to just see her grow. But Jaharia is taking critiques very hard. I hope this doesn't cause her to slip in future episodes. I don't think it will. I don't think that's the type of queen Jaharia is. But it'll be interesting to see, you know, where her storyline goes from here. Then we head to the cauldron, and JK uses this time right in the very beginning to get their point across. Says we don't have to like each other. Very valid. Zava and JK, however, they do have a very mature conversation about their difficulties with each other and their relationship. JK adding in "it's our history" is such a beautiful way to, I think, take a little bit of accountability within it, and also just recognizing that, like, whether we like it or not, this is our history together and we are here in this competition, so we're going to have to, make do. It's just very mature. I don't think this is the end of it. Let's be so for real. But it put a good placeholder into a conversation that was very, very heated. And I think with this conversation, maybe they can move forward in having more mature talks. But then Zava just kind of shifts focus, says Abora is showing the same things since her original season, just different fabric. Respectfully, I disagree. And others disagree as well and say Zava doesn't have the drag to be shading Abora. Priscilla thinks Dahlia should be the one to go home, and Dahlia says you couldn't make this if you wanted to. Out of pocket, but funny. And Priscilla hits us with a pretty iconic line. Raise your hand if you've ever been personally victimized by Dahlia Black. This does feel like a Mean Girls thing. Like, something's going on, dude. Eva says that she thinks Dahlia is the mastermind without knowing it, and admits that even though Dahlia is her friend, she does not like her actions within the competition and can't stand by that. I understand. I do. But I also understand why Dahlia would be hurt by that, but also then, like, girl, don't act a fool. Priscilla says she's tangling herself up in her web. Dahlia says she doesn't need to talk shit for people to think things about Priscilla. She does it for herself. Oof. Priscilla takes that a little bit personally. Is like, is that true? Asking the other competitors, but no, I don't think it is. Dahlia claims that she's only spoken of Priscilla out of concern. And Sigourney calls bullshit on that. She's like, Dahlia, come on. Like, I think Sigourney's just so done and sees what's happening. And it's just like, oh my god. Priscilla doesn't like the narrative that she's addiction transferring. I don't think it's a healthy thing to be bringing up in this manner. I don't. Even if it was happening and this is out of concern, you don't go to... I'm not going to even necessarily say you don't go to production. You don't go to production in front of a camera. Big difference. However, we wrap it up a little bit nicely, for now, at least, and Zava raises her glass and says, let's just all mind our own business. I mean, I agree. Then before we head to the extermination, we see a cut clip of Dahlia walking out crying. However, she thinks, well, no cameras are here, so we're good. However, she still had her mic pack on. So every single person with a headset was able to hear the conversation she was having, and the cameras picked it up. Backstage, Dahlia alleges to Zava that production threatened, her quotes, with a wellness check. This is when production and the Boulets quickly jump in to shut this down, and production confirms that is not what happened. It's messy, you guys. It's messy. Keely, whichever production assistant was handling this, good on you, mama. Dahlia was making claims about her mental health, saying that I'm not mentally well right now, and production took her seriously, as they should. They care about these queens. Like, if you say you're having a really hard time, they're going to be like, okay, like, do we need to call someone? Do you need us to reach out to your professionals or our professionals? Like, there are steps in place, you know what I mean? And production just took her claims seriously. Dahlia then claims that she doesn't remember what she says sometimes. Not an excuse. Dahlia doesn't want to leave, but doesn't want to be at the epicenter of drama also. So I don't know. I'm interested to see how this is going to go. I can't even say who I think is going to go home this week, because It's such a toss-up. Then we head on over to the extermination. This whole spread is absolutely disgusting. Just raw organs and blood everywhere. I mean, Zava literally dumps it on herself, which iconic. But it's just so gross. I can only imagine like fighting in. However, as they're like feasting away, Dahlia apologizes to the Boulets, gives a very sincere, heartfelt message, crying about acting a fool. And, you know, as the queens are eating, they're all gagging, this and that, pleading their case. And at some point, Abora starts crawling across the table, just eating anything. I love the, you know, energy, the ferocity of this monster. However, they specified, as several times before this apparently, some of the props on the table are not safe for consumption. Some of the meats are not safe. I don't know why you would even have them there then, just my opinion, but... And after the extermination challenge, we don't know who goes this week, but we do overhear production advising Abora to make herself throw up and rushing her to the hospital. I swear, if this is what takes Abora out, she's doing so well and just like in such a better place. If this is what takes Abora out, riots. Bring her back for the 3rd season. Bring her back every season, fuck it. Then we get to see the Hellbound showdown between Loris and Jade. Now, personally, not the biggest fan of Loris's look. It was a little too goblin for me, I think. I don't know. It was just odd, but I do like body perfect. The whole outfit was really clean. Like, none of my issues are with that, the actual execution. I don't know, I maybe didn't see vampire. Jade, though. Mama, I know she didn't know every single word again. I know. She definitely didn't. But she looked so good. And she's just a fireball this season. I love to see her radiating this confidence that she has. And with that, they do their little, you know, performance, mini lip sync. And Jade continues on while Loris returns to hell. So I am excited we get to see more of Jade. I guess we'll see. Well, listen, maybe Abora, she might go to the hospital. Maybe she could come back in a week for the Hellbound showdown. And then she still could make it into the finale. Who knows? But yeah, I'm excited for this next episode. It's already out. So if you watched it and came here, sorry, we're a week behind. But if you're just watching this and you want to go check out the new episode, check it out, guys, on AMC Plus and Shudder on Amazon Prime or their individual respective sites. But yeah, I'm loving this season. Like I said, this episode got a little rocky, but it wrapped itself up in a very mature way, and I just appreciate the fuck out of that. Dragula gives us a very kind of nuanced perspective on things, a very forgiving perspective for these monsters, and I just appreciate that. I know that in reality TV and just kind of like internet online media in general, that isn't necessarily pushed for, but more of an open conversation is allowed with this series than I think even Drag Race. And I just love it for that. But yeah, let me know your thoughts, guys. Like and subscribe, all that. I hope to God the audio is working on this, or we just might not have a season 4 recap or episode 4 recap. We'll see. Thank you so much, you guys. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments, like and subscribe, all that. I'll catch y'all in the next one. Take care.